Hi, I'm Tom Hicks here from WRSU-FM New Brunswick. I'm joined by Astragal. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Is that right?
There's I think the proper way is Astragal. Like Astragal.
But there's like a million different ways we've heard it too.
We've heard like a struggle that some people they can't. I don't know. It's very hard to
I'm sure fans confuse it all the time. It must be annoying for you guys. Like, oh, you guys are Astragal. Yeah.
It is entertaining.
Yeah, that's fun.
It's good to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys are from Houston. It's on your Spotify. So
oh yeah.
So like what's that? Like what would you say is like the Houston sound?
Right now it's pretty right now it's probably defined by like a lot of punk and DIY kind of sounds right now.
Yeah.
It's always shifting, probably like any scene in the country, but right now there's like some really good like kind of like punk and hardcore stuff coming out. Strange Joy and like Bozo Boys.
Yeah.
Those bands are super sick.
There's always the underlying indie, I would say, the independent stuff where people are just trying to write sweet love songs, but I think it's kind of taken over by punk. And even like punk rap, I would say. Like
there's some cool
people doing some really interesting things where they're mixing stuff together and kind of blending it, without thinking about it too hard. But it's interesting. I don't know. Houston used to be known for like rap culture a while ago, but I feel like the local scene is punk derived and indie for the most part.
Yeah.
So like how do you guys fit into that? Like do people like respond well to your music there?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say people respond really well to our music, especially like our like live, like how we play live and stuff, and like kind of the energy between the three of us. Sam's not here; he's our drummer.
Yeah,
he's working right now. But rest in peace.
We are a live band, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say first and foremost, like experiencing us live is.
Yeah, that's how people find us when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
Like when we get on a stage, it's kind of like all bets are off the table for like caring about what anybody thinks about what we're doing. It's like very performative. We aren't sitting there like burning candles on each other and stuff, but we are like legitimately falling on each other constantly. And like I'm stomping on the stage without shoes on. I've cut my foot open on tours because I don't put shoes on. Like Jimmy falls on me all the time. Like
very energetic.
It's extremely energy based.
Yeah, and I think like a lot of bands like right now are kind of doing that in Houston too, and like. Yeah, a lot of energy. So I think people respond really well to us. Like unless we play, like we've had some weird shows too.
Yeah, I mean, if the crowd, we feed off the crowd a little bit because if it's a room of like 4 to 10 people, then you're kind of like not as enthused. But if there's more than 10 people, man, like we're losing our minds.
For sure.
It's like it's really entertainment. Like it's like a show, and it's not just for the music. The music is there and it benefits it, but it's really like weird, like. Expressing ourselves and very comfortable with each other.
I think that's what people come back to see us for. So,
yeah. You guys should come to New Brunswick, play a famous basement show. It'd be sick.
Yo,
I would love to play in a basement. We don't have basements here.
We don't have any
basements. Really?
I watch basement shows like, on YouTube, like emo bands. I'm like, dang. I wish you could be doing that
It looks so good, man. I wish I had a basement. I would do so much with it.
All right, we're coming.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It'd be awesome. All right, so I guess we'll talk a little bit about the album. So it's called Pure Cashmere. We've been playing it a lot here at the station. We really love it. It's some great stuff. So like the album is like were there any like influences you had that went into it, like specifically, like any like bands?
I think at that time when we were writing, I was kind of reconnecting with like, I think as an artist, I'm always reconnecting with what I first listened to as someone getting into music. And like when we were writing that album, I was kind of reconnecting with bands that my brother introduced me to, like Interpol and like Velvet Underground, and like kind of like the fundamentals of like where my music making came from. I think when I'm in the creative process and I don't know where to go, I always go back to like the first kind of spark, the initial spark for me. And so I kind of went back to those bands. But I did the artwork as well for the album. So like for that, I was really inspired by this movie called like Soylent Green, which is like a sci-fi movie. And so like our album has this like orange color on it. And so I was like really inspired by this one scene in the movie where like in the future, everyone dies and they get to like be in a room with their favorite color as they die, and the main character, spoiler alert, chooses like this color orange. And so like a lot of the themes in the album have to do with like dying and death and like that sort of thing. And so I was really inspired by this movie and this like use of color. So I think we get inspired by imagery too and kind of apply that to our songs as well, like to kind of get out of the bubble of music, because it can be such a trap to just like listen to bands and like copy riffs and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is like, well, I mean, we do that when we're like,
to
you
a
know,
point. I think when you're first writing, it's like it kind of sounds like this, but really it's just like we like going and doing things together. Like when we travel together, we write a lot of music
for sure.
Like because you just have those experiences that kind of bring you together as people.
Yeah.
And we've actually been writing a lot of the songs on there for over how many?
I mean, we were writing some of those songs for like 3 years before we recorded it. So we were listening to a lot of different stuff.
Mm-hmm. Like I was listening to a bunch of jazz and like weirdo indie stuff. Like I don't know, like Jaco Pastorius was big for me, and also Interpol, the bassist from Interpol, the original bassist from Interpol. Interpol sucks now. Sorry, but they do.
Yeah, they're big boo-boo.
Yeah, the original bassist from Interpol, like his Rickenbacker, like I am obsessed with that. Like for sure. Yeah, I don't know. Influences. We listen to a lot of the same music. Like core things come together. Like we love Stereolab. Mm-hmm. We love I'm sorry to go back to Interpol, man.
Interpol. I think it was on our mind with that album for some reason. It really was on our mind. Like especially like Turn on the Bright Lights. Yeah, you know, I don't know. Yeah. So
the A side and the B side of the album too. Like that was a big influence. Where it's like the first side of the album on the record, it's supposed to be a brighter thing, more dream pop, jangly influenced. Like, and the other side is a little bit harsher, quote unquote. I don't know. That's the way to put it. Darker. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of influences. We influence each other a lot, though. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's what it is. For sure. We aren't really like looking at bands and being like, I want to do that. Like, that's cool as hell. Like, no, it's mostly just like we're all listening to music and sharing it with each other, kind of just feeding off each other's energy when we get into a room. We don't really even talk very much when we write music. Yeah, for sure. we just play. Like, we didn't play for a good, like, 2 to 3 months, and we got in the room the other day, and just for 10 minutes, it was like the most, I'm so sad we didn't record it, but it was like the most thorough and point-to-point thing about just writing music together and playing, and it was gorgeous. And when we were done, we just looked at each other with, I had goosebumps. I was like, oh my god, that felt amazing.
I'd say, like, for the writing process for Pure Cashmere, it starts out, like any of our writing processes, just like really playing music together, and then afterwards we talk about influences and like how we can kind of like round it out. So,
Yeah, that's great stuff. You mentioned the film Soylent Green. Would you say like your music like is based a lot on like novels and stuff? Because I noticed your name comes from a novel, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So like, would you say like that's a big role in like writing the music, like reading and like film and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, it becomes a big thing, you know, whether it's I'm just like printing out photos of stuff I like and putting it on a wall and staring at it while I'm writing music, you know, like, and I don't even mean that to sound like I'm some cool dude, like making art. It becomes frustrating to make art because like you start like you begin not being able to make things. It becomes so difficult. So it's like, I think I'd be quite limited if I just listened to music all day as inspiration, and I have become limited. So often I find, you know, turning on a movie or like reading a book or something, just even going on a walk outside or hanging out with friends, like these kind of things are very fundamental to me making music. And I'd say like all of us really, like when we hang out, you know, we like quality time together as bandmates as well. Yeah. So, you know, exploring things outside of music as a way to write better and more true and be more vulnerable. So yeah, I'd say, you know, movies, books, images, art, all those things very important to us, I think. Like, so.
Are there any like favorite songs you guys have that like you each like to play live?
For sure. Yeah, I really like the song The Abstraction off the album. I'd say like that one's really fun to play live.
Yeah, it's like straight rock banger.
Yeah, I like seeing people's reaction to that song. Yeah. That's really fun. In the Garden is really fun. And then Opaque, I think, is really a great song to play because it's so doomy. I just like how doomy it is. We're kind of able to be like stoner metal heads for a second, which is fun
for a little bit.
Yeah,
put some overdrive on.
Yeah,
stomp around.
Yeah,
all that stuff. I love Supermatic. That's my favorite. That's probably my favorite song to play. And Linville.
Yeah, and Molly Grubs.
No, Molly Grubs.
Sure. But yeah, those are fun. Yeah.
Love songs.
So like when writing the album, like do you produce it yourselves or do you like through someone else?
That album we had our friends Nathan and Blake produce.
In Dallas. We went to Dallas, recorded with Nathan and Blake at we originally recorded with them at their school, university, to feel it out, but then we went and did a whole album with them in like a house with a separate tracking room and a control room, similar to something we're in right now. But I think it was them producing and helping us out. And, you know, we've had all these songs written. We actually cut a couple songs out. But, I mean, we are self-produced other than that. Like, the EP before that, I produced that recording with another friend tracking. But, like, I think we really like the idea of, like, demoing it out here. I'm an audio engineer by trade. And, like, I do really live and in the studio stuff. So, like, we're trying to focus on, you know, doing that. But it is nice to work with other people and get the third year, I would say.
It is really nice.
Looking to work with Corey Hoffman, the guy from a band called Gleamer, you know, stuff like that, you know. It's nice to work with people and get third years and get your name spread around with people who actually have influence. But, I think we're really DIY when it comes down to it. Like, he handles literally every aspect of the art. Like, if you look at our Instagram, it is, like, chock full of aesthetically pleasing things because curates it, you know, and it's like almost like.
And you do the audio stuff.
Yeah, I do the audio stuff, and Sam is the general vibe manager, manages all of our vibes.
So,
that's awesome stuff. I just have a few more questions here. So like any plans for the future? Any tours, any shows, anything like that?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, as far as right now, we're a bit on like a little bit of a hiatus as far as like live shows go. Part of that's me figuring out some things with my mental health and whatnot, and so we kind of have that going on. And I'd say like right now we're kind of in like a cool restarting period. We're kind of, you know, getting a new practice space, a new rehearsal space. We're kind of like getting back to basics. You know, with how things like happen with COVID, like, you know, I think we needed just like a restart. So that's kind of where we're at right now. But we're always writing music. We're always demoing music. And I think probably the goal here is going to be to like, you know, really like start writing new stuff, demoing things out. So
eventually get to playing.
Yeah, eventually get to playing. Eventually. So, yeah.
All right. So my last question, is there any like social medias you want to tag here? Any merch?
Yeah, you can follow us on Instagram for sure. It's our like most active one, so just hit us up there, DM us, and
at Astragal Band.
Astragal Band.
ASTRAGAL Band.
Yeah, and we have Pure Cashmere available on vinyl and Bandcamp. So
first pressing.
Hit it up. First pressing.
Probably. I don't think we're gonna do a second one, unless something wonderful happens. That's it. I don't know how many we have left. Probably like 200 or something like that.
Yeah, hit it up.
But we really just use Instagram. We're on Facebook every once in a while, but MySpace is chill.
For sure. Good spot.
So there you have it. This is Astragal. Did I get it right that time? It's close.
I think you have a nice way of putting it.
I think you're hitting.
I like the way you're doing it more than the way we do it.
Yeah, I think you're hitting.
Give me another one. Give me another one.
One more time.
Astragal. I have that like New Jersey kind of New York thing going on. Like everything sounds so strange.
Honestly, that's really.
Astragal. All right.
Yeah, it's like the gal. It's the gal part of it where it's like, ooh, it's kind of like spicy.
That hit hard.
Sauce.
That hit hard. keep it up.
It literally is the like any way that anybody wants to, you know, pronounce it. You know, we just say Astragal, but I hear people saying Astragal, Stral. You know, it's hard.
I appreciate the attempts.
Yeah, your attempts were good. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Snaps.
Yeah, thank you guys for being on this interview. It's awesome. yeah, everyone listening out there, follow these guys on Instagram, everything else. Buy their vinyls. Buy their yeah.